So the Batley and Spen by-election is coming up on the 1st of July, and you might be thinking, Riley, what the hell are we talking about a by-election for? This is choosing one MP in one constituency in the UK. With everything that's going on, it's really not that important, right? Well, it is important. It's a pretty important election, and that's for a number of reasons. But the biggest one, I think, right now, is that it will make or break Keir Starmer's leadership. In fact, really, all it stands to do is either keep things at the status quo for Keir Starmer and the Labour Party, which is still very bad. You know, they're unpopular. They're way behind in terms of trust on policy issues in the Tories and Boris Johnson. They're way behind them in the polls. Keir Starmer's way behind Boris Johnson in terms of, you know, who people would think would be a better Prime Minister, who people believe is more competent, more trustworthy, even on issues like the National Health Service. You know, it's really, really concerning stuff for Labour. But they'll kind of maintain that if they win, because they currently hold the seat. But if they lose, I think Keir Starmer will have absolutely no choice but to resign. So this by-election is in a place it's predominantly working class, right? Batley and Spen. About 43% of the vote, that's what Labour got in the 2019 general election. The Tories got about 36%. No other parties came close, obviously, with those kind of numbers. And it's been a place with a Labour MP for a long time. And it's quite an important constituency in recent political history, because you probably have heard of Jo Cox, a wonderful MP who was representative for Labour, and she was the MP for Batley and Spen. And during the 2016 EU referendum campaign, she was tragically assassinated by a far-right sort of nationalist extremist. And you know, Jo Cox was a phenomenal MP, and she believed very strongly in an inclusive society and in equality and social justice and all these wonderful things that, you know, I mean, I believe in very strongly, and I believe the majority of the British people believe in very strongly. She was a true internationalist. And since then, Labour has held the seat. And now their candidate, Kim Ledbetter, or Leadbeater, and yeah, I apologise if I got that name wrong, if I pronounced it wrong, but basically Kim Leadbeater is going to be is Labour's candidate, and she actually works with the Jo Cox Foundation. So, you know, I'm sure this feels like quite a personal battle to her, but it looks like Labour is probably going to lose this election. Most of the polls show a Tory lead, not like a slim lead, but not an enormous one. You know, Labour could, if they sort of, you know, launched an incredible campaign, they could definitely win it. It's definitely winnable. And let's be clear, this seat is more than winnable. It should be pretty safe for Labour. Now, I hate the idea of safe seats, because it kind of implies that political parties and organisations and politicians and, you know, candidates don't really have to work for those people's votes. Oh, well, it's a safe seat, they'll vote for us anyway. And that is kind of being destroyed, that notion, by what's been going on in the past sort of 2 or 3 years in British politics anyway. But it's just a bad thing in general, right? So, but it should be one of those things where Labour can feel very confident, because they should be connecting with people in that constituency and saying, look, this is what we offer, this is what the Conservatives offer, this is what all the other parties offer. Make your decision. But we think that, you know, we have these 4 or 5 big policies that we think would really benefit you. Bread and butter, common sense stuff, built from the grassroots up. It's progressive, it's left wing, we won't apologise for that, but we believe it's just common sense, right? However you want to spin it. And we want to work for you, right? That's kind of the message that I think Labour got across very, very effectively in the 2017 election, when we saw, you know, an amazing kind of turnaround. Labour increased their vote share by 10% since the last election in 2015. And in that campaign, you know, Labour started on about, you know, 24% in terms of polls, and ended on 40. So, you know, they made up some incredible ground considering where they were starting off. So Labour should definitely be able to get there right now. I think they're only about 5 or 6 points behind the Tories. But I don't think they will, and the current polls show that they won't. And this gets to a real problem with Keir Starmer's leadership of the Labour Party. And it's a problem that's been evident for, I'd say, at least like 8-9 months now. And it's been abundantly clear for that long, but I'm sure it was kind of bubbling under the surface before then. But Keir Starmer's Labour Party does not appear to stand for anything, right? The kind of policies that Labour proposes are milquetoast, centrist, moderate bollocks. Let's be clear about that. I'm not going to kind of pull any punches. I'm sure Keir will be watching this video thinking, oh God, Riley's going at me. What? Oh no, it's the end of the world. but you know what I mean though. You can't spin this any other way. Is what I'm saying. Because Labour have proposed, maybe a small handful of things that are really just rather inconsequential. They seem to oppose just about anything the Tories do that's remotely good. The Tories implement a housing programme in a local area to build more houses. We need more houses, especially affordable, eco-friendly houses, where the workers get paid decent wages and have fair hours and fair conditions and everything. And they're against that. The Tories want to increase corporation tax and make the huge corporations who've profited from the coronavirus pandemic pay so we can rebuild our infrastructure and we can rebuild our NHS and our education system and all these things and help fight climate change. They don't support that. What is the Labour Party for? And now we have a situation where even the people they've been trying to win over by being more right-wing and, doing their flag waving and stuff, even those people, the people who are maybe socially more authoritarian and conservative, but economically more left-wing and progressive, I think a lot of working class people, in fact I think most people in this country in general, are more socially conservative to an extent, but they are pretty economically left-wing, because all of those policies, like public ownership of rail, mail, water and energy, very popular. Increasing taxes on the ultra-wealthy and the super-rich, very, very popular. More funding for education in the NHS, very, very popular. All of those things, a Green New Deal, green industrial policy, infrastructure investment, all these things are very popular, but Labour has ignored that and be like, okay, well, we'll go on the social conservatism side of things and be a bit harsher on that front. But they're not winning those people over either. You have the Workers' Party of Britain, led by George Galloway, who is an absolute fool, a racist, and someone who denies the ethnic cleansing and genocide that's going on, the persecution of the Uyghur people in Xinjiang in China by the Chinese government. He does not represent the interests of the working class at all. He's in it for himself, that's abundantly clear. But he's siphoning off some votes as well. Labour has only themselves to blame. And if they lose this by-election, a by-election that is infinitely winnable, if you go at it with common sense policies, if you stop the sleaze, if you democratise the party, be honest with the public, stick by your principles, and actually fight the Tories on the issues that matter, give people policies to vote for, bread and butter, common sense progressive policies, you'll easily win by-elections like that, and in fact, you stand a pretty good chance of winning the general election. But it looks like that ain't going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. I am very concerned by what's going to happen here, but I just hope that if Labour loses this by-election, that it will be a turning point, and people who really want to change things, often the people in the more left or soft left wings of the party are generally better at that, but Labour itself is in a very dire position, and you have certain people in positions of bureaucratic influence in the party who really don't want it to win unless their faction's in charge. So there needs to be a big change, and I hope this is the catalyst for that, because we need a party that's fighting for the people, for common sense, bread and butter policies, and for rejuvenating our economy and our democracy, taking power and wealth away from the ultra-wealthy and the elites and to the general population, because that's how it needs to be. So, what are your thoughts on this? Leave it in the comments below if you're interested. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you all on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, if you liked it, you know, then why not translate that into a digital form and click the like button. Or, you know, even better, if you're feeling extra wild, subscribe and click the bell.